Hello everyone, and this is What's Stuff. Welcome to another Company of Heroes 2 cast. This time it's gonna be a replay brought by COH2.org. Someone requested advice against British. So we have a team game, 4v4 on Essen still works. And there's gonna be 4 British of the crazy Russian clan. Against what looks like 4 randoms. We have Anyadir Namar as OKW. Romensul as Wehrmacht, Lock and Load as OKW, and Sergeant Scrub as OKW. So we have a lot of OKW against a lot of British. Already looking bad for the OKW. So let's get started. Now, Essen Steelworks. Let's talk about the map. This map is fairly balanced from what I've seen, though it does have some things I don't like in it. Like, perhaps I really don't like fighting on this side, but you know, it's personal preference. I don't think the map is very unbalanced. The munitions are very much like out of the way, so trying to secure them early might be an advantage, because obviously you will not have people harassing them very much when they're focused on fighting on fuels and PPs. So it looks like the British will be making some kind of mixed openings. I see infantry sections and rank carriers, even an MG. Whereas the OKW is 1 Kubel, 2 Kubels. So it looks like 2 people went for the Kubels and another one went for the Volks. Wehrmacht went for Sniper and MG. So I do agree with the Wehrmacht opening. Sniper and MG definitely what you want to do against British. Kubels, I do not agree. Kubels are easily countered by friend carriers, as you will soon see. So obviously, already the British has the advantage of being a clan, so they're probably talking either with voice chat or something. So storm piles, first engagement, closing into close range with some infantry sections, forcing them back. So far, so good. Storm piles are gonna get in the building. It's nice to have building control against British to prevent the lovely fire rate bonus that the British have. Looks like they will try to get in this abandoned factory. And there will be just this pretty disorganized brawl between Kubels and infantry sections and storm piles. The OKW should be coming out on top on this, mostly because of the close range of the storm piles and the Kubels being able to double team the rank carrier. Rank carrier on the other side having much more luck, only 1 Kubel over here, and also a lot of infantry supporting it. Gonna force back the storm piles, though the storm piles are going to be saved by the Kubel wagon suppressing. Nice flank coming in from a lot of Volksgrenadiers by Lock and Load. Nice play getting into heavy cover. Very good. Still doesn't have a building set up, so no grenades available to quickly wipe some units early on. Also grabbing the fuel, the munitions with the storm piles. Grenade coming out. Not going to be able to wipe any units though, so probably wasted munitions. Rank carrier is sitting there under fire, should retreat right away. He might be able to escape because of his semi-early reactions. No! It will be sniped by the Volksgrenadiers. Nice play. On the other side, we have the sniper not having a good angle. Ostrupen doctrine being selected. So Ostrupen being fielded. Trying to protect his sniper and MG, probably, by having some cannon fodder. Though the British MGs are just tearing them apart. He should just retreat. On the right, the Volks blob, or making of the blob, is pushing up. Nicely utilizing cover. Pushing away the infantry. The best way to push away infantry sections is early game, before they get, you know, increased squad sizes and friends, veterans chief. So very nice job of the OKW to push back the British. The MG is the counter to the Kubel, other than the rank carrier. So this Kubel has to run away and probably find this mech HQ to repair. Going for a quick Raketten, Sergeant Scrub, good idea to counter any kind of Kubel friends, especially with flamethrowers, because at this point the British are probably going to start upgrading their tier 2s. As we can see, Partizan already has upgraded tier 2. He has upgraded his friend with a flamer, and he's probably sending these engineers to repair it. Nicely upgrading packages, medical supplies, and artillery. So he decided to use his munitions that way. Who is this guy? Van. So he's doing what I think is a correct move, except for blob capping. Don't blob cap. He has been pushed back off the right, so he has decided to go for the middle instead and support his ally. His ally went for a quick bolster infantry squads, which could work. I'm not a fan of it, but it could work, especially supporting, an MG. So let's talk about doctrines a bit. Lock and load floating a lot. Shouldn't be floating that much. Should be getting one or two Rakens to counter any kind of Kubu, Brent carrier. I'm getting confused between them because they're a similar unit. Counter any kind of Brent carriers that come in. So we have a flank being forded by the Kubu wagon. Very nice usage of the Kubos. They didn't get countered as I thought because he got two of them. Here comes the nice flamer. This is why you want to have the Raken. Unfortunately, the Raken is in the house, so it's going to be extra vulnerable to the flamer. One Kubo looks like it's going to go down. Two Kubos going down. A bit of lag spike. We have a nice push from the Russians. And another Kubo goes down. Flak half-track is here to stop it, though. Looks like it's going to be able to deal tons of damage to this infantry. And all the fucking effects are lagging my computer. We have Red Army over here, trying to push back, apply some pressure over here. This is a good move. Apply some pressure so the enemy cannot send these units to reinforce on the left. On the left, the Germans are just suffering heavily. But this flak half-track might be able to turn the tide a bit, especially because there's no AT guns over here for the British. This MG is just going to be owned, though the flak half-track gets a damaged engine, so it will be out of action for a bit. Unfortunately, these units are not being monitored and they're not retreating. Oh, nice usage of the flamer, which does do some damage to the flak and is going to be able to hopefully destroy it nicely before the Bren is destroyed itself. Though an AT gun was being pushed up, the flamer also prevented a bit repairing. So that was a good move. Okay, now that the engagements are stopping, I can talk about doctrines a bit. Lock and load hasn't selected yet, but in his loadout we have Special Ops, Breakthrough, and Luftwaffe Ground Forces. Of these, Luftwaffe Ground Forces and Special Ops are, in my opinion, the best for this map. I don't like Breakthrough on this map because there's no really space for the Yak Tiger to operate. It's pretty easy to flank on this map. Anyadir went for Breakthrough, so slap in the face of all my ravings against it. Roman Sul, obviously, Ostrupen. Ostrupen can be pretty good against British, but you need to operate it correctly. Mostly you'd want to use Ostrupen to cover your mortars, snipers, and MGs instead of grenadiers. Because of the early weakness of the infantry sections, they are not as vulnerable. So these sappers are building a Bofors, and once you see them building a Bofors and you cannot stop them, you really need to run away from it, because this Bofors will obliterate everything you have. So unless you can stop it. And also another tip: do not target the Bofors itself. British buildings, for some reason, are pretty much less vulnerable than other buildings when they are in the face of being constructed. Other buildings are pretty, like bunkers from the Wehrmacht, are going to be pretty easy to take out directly. What you want to do with the British is hit the sappers that are building the structure, because they still take a ton of damage when they're building. So now this side is mostly on lockdown. What the Germans would want to do right now is get some field guns and mortars to try and destroy this emplacement, destroy this MG, and possibly damage these blobs that are holding the side. Remember, with the British, as long as they hold a fuel point, like this one, they're always in the game. A bit like Axis when you're playing USF or Soviets. So on this side, we have Anyadir, who went for a Puma. It's a pretty good choice to counter Brent carriers, but no real need to keep it idle. You could probably try to get some snipes over here, though I think all the Brents are dead. this point. All the Brents appear to be dead, yeah. So probably the better option for the Puma right now is to try and hunt for, I don't know, anything, and just trying to keep safe. For the allies of the options, we have Royal Artillery, Royal Engineers, and Commandos for Dronov, so the standard loadout. Looks like he hasn't got lucky with the RNG yet. Anything could be, any of those could be selected really. They're all pretty good. My preference would be Artillery, but that's just personal. So we have a nice aggressive move from Lock and Load. That's what you want to do against the British, just push up as much as possible. Looks like we have some Stuka. He went for a Stuka, very good idea. He should spend some of his manpower float. You really want to push early against the British, so leaving your manpower to float for most likely Obersoldan. Or actually, I think he's going for King Tigers because he went both battle group and mechanized. So what you should actually be doing is getting 2 field guns and an infrared half track to spot on this side for his field guns. Nicely placed Schwera. There's no easy line of sight to it for AT guns or something to kill it. So nice, and it can still fire on infantry. So nice idea, getting some Obersoldaten up from Scrub. Streks are approaching this mortar pit, gonna try to kill it. This mortar pit really needs to brace up, as it will do. And now the engineers will get out and try to kill them with their stents. So, good play by Vaughn. Vaughn went special weapons, which can be a perfect doctrine for team games because of this ability, the resupply half track. This ability is awesome. It can drop out Vickers KLMGs and Piats without the need to upgrade weapon racks. And also the good thing about it is that, you know, obviously it drops them on the ground and anyone can pick them up, even your allies. So great supportive doctrine. Also with the artillery is very good. Crocodile is amazing. And the tank under infantry section, I don't know, I haven't seen them in action, so I'll not comment on them. Partisan went for engineers. Engineers always a good idea. Can always work out in these team games with the AVRE, amazing ability. And stand fast to help out their emplacements to survive a bit longer against like spams of indirect fire. So it looks like the Germans are being pushed back on this side, but the opposite has happened on the right. So what the right side needs to do is stop focusing here, you know, just leave some kind of defense over here, especially like, you know, maybe some kind of emplacement, bunkers, anything, trucks, and a couple infantry squads, and then move most of the forces over here. Looks like a Kubo was knocked out by the infantry spam. Though Vaughn, actually no, Red Army is suffering very greatly. All his units are dead. He went Royal Artillery. Royal Artillery can be good with the artillery barrage in pretty much any game mode. Whenever you know some kind of, especially against OKV, whenever you know there's some kind of defense on some side, just plop it down. So what Red Army would want to do, since he's artillery doctrine, is upgrade Anvil, as he has done. So he clearly knows what to do, or he's being told what to do, though he should improve his unit preservation, obviously. Should not blob up and run into grenades. Also, what he could be doing is just disregard the right. They have it completely, and just go for the middle. Using flares, very good idea, so that he can see where the enemy is, and he has called on an artillery somewhere. Artillery strike. I don't know where. But yeah, it's good to use also this early warning, especially in team games, so your allies know. Your allies know where the enemy is and can respond accordingly. So, 3-inch mortar emplacements, just holding the left very nicely. Thanks to the early warning, now they know that there's a Shera here, and they can start bombarding it with the mortars, which have extremely long range to offset the fact that they are well static. So finally, Anyadir has decided, well, I'm on this side, I have it locked down, let's move out. And it looks like he went for 2 field guns, but he's keeping them very far back. He should be keeping them a bit further up. Stuka looks like it went down and killed half an infantry section. The Stuka, at this point, should really be moved. Where is it? It should really be moved. Oh. He's gonna fire again. and he has seen it and he's gonna retreat. Should really be moved on the left to start taking down some of these larger infantry forces and these emplacements. Yeah, the emplacements can brace, but whenever they brace, they cannot fire, so you should use that opportunity to move in. And or repair your structures. Especially the Shvera, it's going to be destroyed very quickly. So, I wish there was a way, when an ability is called down, to like click where it's being called. Obviously it's being called over here right now, but yeah, that would be nice. These concentration barrage and the infantry section barrage with anvil tactics, they do these airburst shells that you see. I don't know exactly how they work, but they do heavy damage against structures, so you'd want to be using them against OKV trucks, and also pretty good against infantry. They do blind vehicles, but they don't do heavy damage to vehicles. So always a good idea when you're going with any kind of artillery doctrine. So it looks like we have the half-track blob, the infanterist half-track blob coming in. Gonna try to push back some of the enemy from the middle. There is a Schwera Panzer headquarters and some S-mines, so looks like though these British are starting to get minesweepers on their units. Not everyone, but minesweeper is always a good idea. Partisan already getting out of Sherman Firefly, 16 minutes in. So looks like he expects some kind of armor, and that's a good idea because he's floating munitions. So using the tulips will be a pretty good way to keep German armor at bay. Bunker being built in the middle by the Osuka player, very good idea. But unfortunately, the infantry sections have already found a way around because it's not, the flank of the bunker is not being held. So it looks like the Stuka has been repositioned on this side, but it wasn't aimed perfectly because the British were spreading out and not blobbing excessively. So it looks like the boys anti-tank rifle section is going to try and take out the Stuka, but the Stuka can run away. Looks like, I don't know if these anti-tank rifles will do heavy damage to the buildings. Looks like they do moderate damage. Storm piles are going to force them back along with field guns. Field guns being blobbed up, not a good idea. The Red Army's artillery is on recharge. Nicely cloaked Raken should try to place some mines on this side and not just... Yeah, we do have some mines, okay. Nice job by. Looks like lock and load. Should really get rid of some of this manpower club though. It's really crippling you. Get some Obers. Maybe get a Panzer IV, though Panzer IV right now will be countered by Firefly. Possible Fireflies that are coming up, and possible 17 pounders. So it looks like the only armor that's on the field right now is a Firefly, which is bad for a team game. You guys should be, everyone should be planting some more fuel caches. Though for the Axis, only the Wehrmacht player can place down fuel caches, and looks like he is more interested in floating and not doing anything than placing down, you know, caches to help his team out. Not monitoring this MG, clearly bad mistake. I'm gonna speed up a bit the game because these team games can be very, very slow. Looks like a Churchill was produced by Red Army. Very good choice to take out some of these fortifications. The Blob is going to approach it though, and he's going to play a bit conservatively and retreat to his infantry.
Good news. The ability is ready for use.
He could cut off a Sexton, actually. A Sexton could be a good idea, but they are already dealing correctly with these fortifications, so there's no need for now. Stuka once again missing mostly, yeah. Though it has gotten to vet 1 and 12 kills, so the longer it stays alive, the more vet it's going to accrue, and the more dangerous it's going to be. Nice flanks coming in from these infantry sections. So right now the problem with the Axis is that the Osterbrunn player is really not pulling his weight. He has 263 fuel in the bank that he's not using. Though he has produced an Austin. Austins can be useful. Though the Sherman Fireflies will come up and start pounding the German tanks, whatever German armor. So it looks like artillery going to be called down, and destroy another Schwera. Centaur coming in. Centaurs are extremely effective. And looks like Lock and Load knows this and is going to retreat. The Ostwind versus Centaur fight, I believe, goes to the Centaur. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like it goes slightly to the Centaur, but it's not decisive. Here comes a Churchill, which will swing the fight around. This Ostwind should just retreat. Looks like we have a failed push attempt from Sergeant Scrub. His infantry really is going in alone, unsupported. He has support weapons, but they're sitting in the base, so he should monitor them more effectively. Firefly going to come in and try to push back the Ostwind, but he sees that there's some anti-tank coming in, so he's going to run away. Tulips being fired. He thought the Ostwind was still there, but he moved, so good job from Romansul to move away. That's a lot of munitions wasted. Firefly really not going to be very effective against this infantry, but it's going to be a good deterrent, a good shield against German tanks. Counter push coming in the middle from the OKW, but it's going to be, looks like, stopped by this Churchill. Nicely getting some engineers. I was about to say he should get more engineers to repair his crocodile, his Churchill, because of his manpower flow. Looks like he's going to go all out with Churchills. Nice coordination coming in from obviously the clan. Looks like we have some, like a few players going Firefly spam to counter any kind of armor. One player going Churchills, and one player getting the Centaur support. Looks like he also is going to get the Crocodile as soon as possible. Nice usage of field guns to beat through mortar pits. And the Rakendens are going to be defended by the Obers. Obers just decimating British infantry. Maybe a grenade on them instead of Rakend would have been a better idea. Though the Rakend was pushing back the Fireflies, and looks like the grenade did not do much. The MGs are being outflanked by the Obers. But the infantry sections looks like with the Vickers K upgrade are going to be able to defend against the Obersoldaten. And there was some kind of artillery coming down, possibly the mortar, I don't know. So it looks like another assault was repulsed by the British. The situation is starting to get pretty dangerous for the Axis. Though they have taken down the British VPs greatly, now they will face the British late game, especially with large amounts of armor, and the British are making a bit of better use of their resources. Looks like the King Tiger is on the field from Anyadir, and that will push back the Churchill. The British should consider getting a 17-pounder over here to deter further any German armor presence around here. Looks like he went for a Stug. I don't agree with this. You have the fuel required to tech up the phase 4 and get some Panthers out, or perhaps a Brumbear. Brumbear would be very good against these emplacements, FPGs, and infantry. Looks like the Churchills are coming in. The King Tiger was blinded by the what's it called? The artillery. Firefly is going to survive by a bit. Though it looks like the Churchill, along with the Firefly, do push back the King Tiger enough. I'm not sure if this Churchill will survive this encounter. It looks like he ran into a mine, which interestingly did nothing to the King Tiger. That was pretty much hugging it. And so this Churchill is pretty much dead. Oh, main gun destroyed on the Tiger. That's a lucky penetration from the Churchill. Looks like it's going to allow it a few minutes of extra time. This extra Churchill is going to be repaired, and the infantry is going to move in to help out their tank. Also, RD is being called down. I don't know where. Looks like we have a giant push on the left from the Ostuber player, though the Fireflies are going to be able to decimate the Stugs and Ostwind. So really ill thought of push. Looks like grenade assaults from the Obersoldaten are going to try and clear out this mortar pit, vet-free mortar, winning 35 kills. Partisan looks like he had a crash, so that's unfortunate for them. That's going to be a problem very big problem for the Allies. Looks like we have some kind of airstrike coming in, or artillery, railway. So this could do a lot of damage to this infantry that's bobbed up. Oh my god. Von, you really need to spread out your infantry. He could call in a crocodile, which is what I will do. Oh, the special weapons half track also goes down. So this was a very much worth it railway artillery. So a bit crash, I think, and this amazing railway strike have improved the position of the Axis enormously. What I would do now is try to get up this infantry, some of this infantry, and try to flank around over here, try to take out the artillery player and go and capture the middle, so that you can also flank around and try to cut off the British instead of trying to frontally attack where they are strongest. That looks like to be the best idea, though obviously, you know, with the fog of war they don't know this, but they should know about this. They should. Crocodile on the field. This infantry really needs to run away now. So the Stuka is still alive, getting 25 kills. Looks like this barrage took out a lot of engineers that were repairing the Firefly. Up to vet 2. King Tiger coming in the middle, going to be not very much opposed by the Churchill. Second King Tiger on the field. So it looks like we have 2 KTs. This is actually the new one, Lock and Loads. As I thought he was going King Tiger, Sergeant Squad could get a Command Panther. Firefly doing heavy damage along with artillery and Churchill fire on the King Tiger should retreat. Pushing up unsupported with these King Tigers when you have all this manpower to get Obersoldaten and artillery units is a bad idea, so this King Tiger is going to be in very much trouble. This Tulip doesn't have the munitions to fire, so that's unfortunate for Dronov. Oh god, the Churchill Blob. Churchill Blob is going to be able to push back the Stooges, I think. But there is some kind of railway coming in. It looks like it might be able to take out some of these tanks, at least force them to retreat. Ostrupen coming in the middle to try and support their armor. Finally, that it's pretty late. The infantry right here in this push was definitely lacking, so they should work on getting their infantry support up in time. Stug looks like it managed to push back along with the artillery. Oh, these hits. They're missing pretty much by a country mile, but it doesn't matter. Their purpose is not to kill, but to, you know, push back. A lone sniper is pushing. Oh, that's the AI. That's why. So it looks like the German infantry actually got the right idea of pushing where the enemy isn't. Right now they see that the enemy is focused up in the middle, so they decided to nice Panzerfaust on the Churchill. But the Stuka looks like it almost hit their own units. At least he scared them off enough that they retreated, so any kind of advantage they could have exploited from this victory is pretty much gone. Though they are able to push for the fuel over here. They really need to take out this Bofors though. Without the Bofors taken out, they will not be able to push for the VP. So it looks like a lot of the problems that the Germans are encountering is mostly due to lack of coordination, because they're I think, not a team. So they're already at a disadvantage from the fact that they are not a clan, and the enemy is obviously very much more coordinated than them. That's something that I think Relic should implement, that at least for 3v3 and 4v4, random teams should not be allowed to match against, you know, pre-made teams. But, you know, the matchmaker is already slow enough, so that's why they are not doing it, I think. Looks like the German assault infantry is going to be able to clean up the British riflemen. Also this MG from the AI obviously being crude. King Tiger looks like it's going to try to follow up on the successes of the infantry. Finally, something is killing these units. The Bofors at extremely long range. So it looks like the King Tiger got the right idea to flank. These units should be reinforced and brought up to try and stop it a bit. along with the Fireflies. Fireflies, instead of fighting Bolshevikers, which is exactly what they're not made for, should be trying to come in and take out some of this armor. Opening up the tactical map, we can see that the main engagement is taking place in the center, but now the Germans are doing what I told them to, and trying to push for less hot areas of the map. Looks like Anya Deer's infantry is not being monitored against the Churchill Swarm because I think he is microing this KT. So the Churchill Swarm in the middle should be dealt with accordingly with a Yak Tiger, perhaps. He looks like he's going to get a Yak Tiger. Normally I don't agree with the Yak Tigers, but right now it's a pretty good idea. Looks like the Churchills are going to advance, and there's no counter for them except a couple of rockets. KT is going to approach, though he is in danger of having the Firefly come in and try to destroy it. This Firefly should upgrade tulips because he is floating a good 290 munitions. This KT staying here is a bad idea because you know there's some kind of AT coming up, and he is going to be surrounded by the Churchills and probably taken out. So some more infantry support and some more, I guess, game sense of knowing when the enemy is going to bring up the counter, even though it doesn't look like a counter is there on the map. King Tiger going to go down. This push looks like it's going to seal a very, very big victory for the British. On the other side, the Tiger was able to take out a Firefly, so looks like the successes have been reversed on the other side. But on this end, the fighting was a bit less severe, so the victory is a bit less important. Red Army also starting to get in the float game. Should get some Royal Engineers up and upgrade them with a Heavy Engineer upgrade. Also, should probably get some fuel caches or munitions caches on these strategic points. Yak Tiger is going to come in and try to deal with these Churchills, though the Yak Tiger should be careful of not getting artilleried or Firefly tulipped. Looks like another King Tiger coming in from Sergeant Scrub. I do not agree with these King Tigers. Someone should try to get some Panthers up, especially this guy who has the Command Panther Doctrine. Yak Tiger should not face your ass to the enemy, and should upgrade tulips on these rockets from Von. On this Firefly from Von. Though he is microing his Churchill, which overextended greatly. It's probably going to be the end of this Churchill. Getting flanked by a Yak Tiger, that's not something you see every day. If this Firefly right now had tulips, he would be able to use the tulips and deal heavy damage to the Yak Tiger. Though it looks like he did call in artillery, which is kind of like a railway from the special weapons doctrine. So it looks like it's going to deal heavy damage to the OKW trucks. Maybe a bit OP this ability. So it looks like the AI, though, is going to push back on the left along with a few infantry sections. Nicely harassing where the enemy isn't. Definitely shows a bit better game sense. Fuck, I'm out of water. My throat's getting dry. So the Germans have pushed up in the middle, and again, they're going to be flanked by the AI, so looks like they do not regard the AI as much of a threat, though the Centaurs, even when in AI control, they can be very, very dangerous units. King Tiger, again, facing his ass to the enemy. That's not a very good idea. So the Stubes are going to be outflanked by this AI Cromwell. AI doing actually some nice job. Something I've noticed is that the Brit AI can do some pretty good work. Looks like artillery is going to come down from Red Army, I think, into these trucks. Nice usage of the artillery, concentrated artillery fire from pretty much all the players, except I think Dronov. No, Dronov also went artillery doctrine. I hadn't noticed that. And I think he's the guy that went priest. Yeah, Sexton, sorry. Stuka not being nearly as effective because the British correctly guessed, knew that there was a Stuka, so they did not get too much infantry, and they cut down on the emplacements a bit better, so that's good on them. You should really start to protect your heavy armor with infantry, especially Shreks. That will help you out very much. Especially now that the Crocodile is dead. Crocodile is what normally, well, he did get another one. Vaughn, your infantry float. You should start to get some of these sections up. There's really no drawback to them. You don't even need to upgrade them. So it looks like this Sherman, which still doesn't have tulips, is going to push up and try to get some shots on these wider units. Yak Tiger going to kill some of these AI armor units. Nice big push coming in from the British infantry. If the Stuka was on cooldown right now, he could use it to great effect. Oh, nice artillery support coming in. These air burst shells forcing the Ostrup to retreat. Yak Tiger trying to force back the Fireflies. Nice targeting. But the infantry looks like it's going to be able to break through. These Obers right now could have probably been in the center and be more helpful. Though the Stuka has recharged, and I still cannot find it. Fucking hell. Stuka up to 29 kills. You should be using it more. I've noticed that you do not use it on cooldown. You should also get up some rockets up and try to force back some of the heavy armor. Crew shot coming in on the Churchill. King Tiger are holding this side pretty much alone, along with this blob. Should not be blob capping. Heavy German infantry presence on the left. The Bofors is down, so he should try to go for the VP. Right now, the best way the Axis has to win is just to get VP pressure on the enemy, though he decided to retreat. Very bad idea. He had them. He could have gone for the MG, easily killed it. It's up to vet 3, yes, but in 26 kills, that's impressive. But it's almost dead. He should actually retreat it and heal it up. Oh, this Crocodile is going to be able to deal heavy damage to the Pioneers. Pioneers are retreating just in time. Only one guy actually remaining. Looks like the Churchills will push back the King Tiger. Mostly because I think he fears some other kind of unit is going to come up. Crocodile is going to be flanked by Shrek squads. Shrek squads should be careful not to blob up, especially in the front. Another push in the middle from the Ostrupen. Looks like it's going to be less resistance because of all the fighting that's going on in the right. Though a 17 pounder was built, very good idea, because the enemy is wanting to get King Tigers and stuff, so that's pretty much the best counter to King Tigers, 17 pounder. Firefly up to vet 3, still no rockets. It's a mistake, I think, so really should work on getting rid of this munitions float, and the tulips is the perfect way to do that against this heavy armor presence. Looks like the Germans are going to be able to solidify the middle, though under artillery fire. They are going to be able to kill the King Tiger, looks like, with a lucky penetration. Maybe. Yak Tiger coming in to support. Oh, this King Tiger. It's so close to dying. And the artillery comes in and almost kills the Churchill, but also kills the King Tiger. Another heavy tank down, but he does almost have the resources to replace it. Yak Tiger going to be able to kill Churchill, though still a good trade. Churchill for Yak Tiger, for King Tiger and the medical HQ. Slowly but surely, the British are starting to push back. Nicely circle strafing the Yak Tiger. Even the Churchill can circle strafe the Yak Tiger. Looks like the 17 pounder is not faced the correct way though. Another Churchill coming in. Looks like it's the 4th Churchill from Red Army. Though he should try to get rid of some of this float, as I've said before. Stuka dangerously close to the front line. I don't know what it's doing there. Should pay attention to it. Almost getting killed by the artillery. Main gun destroyed on the Yak Tiger. Again, Yak Tiger was mostly showing the rear armor, and obviously since it's very slow to turn, that was its downfall mostly. Heavy tanks right now are being uncountered, so some Rakens and perhaps a Pack 43, though there is no Pack 43 doctrine, so that's very important for the Axis. Some Pack 43s will be very helpful. Though, actually no, because of the artillery spam. Well, spam. The very heavy artillery that the British are being able to take. These infantry getting some stun grenades from the Vet 3, Vet 4 actually. Storm piles, nice, but this infantry is not in the place that it should be. Holy shit. That's the wind, sorry. They should be going for the VP and trying to get some cap going on the British. British have a triple cap going, and they have shaved off half of the points of the Germans. So blob capping is a bad idea. Should not be doing it. Should be sending your weaker squads to cap, whereas your stronger squads go fight, especially because blob capping like this leaves you very vulnerable to the Churchill. And it's like, yeah, the Churchill is overpowered, but if you blob against it, this is exactly what it wants to do. What you need to do to counter it is tank destroyers, anti-tank guns, kind of, especially the long-range ones, like the Pack 43. That's the best way to counter it, and yeah, it is OP, but you can counter it. It's not, too hard. Though, obviously, as Oberkommando, it's a bit harder because you lack the crew shot from the Vet 1 pack of the Oster, which is, in my opinion, the best counter to the Crocodile. He's going to be able to repair it. Some of the British, especially Von and Red Army, are getting some insane floats. More King Tigers being built. I do not agree with this. As I've said, at this point, you should be getting some Panthers. Panthers or, supported by Shreks. Because of the heavy armor presence of the British, you have shaved off most of the infantry. Like, there are not many infantry units, mostly just emplacements and tanks. So you should be going heavy on the anti-armor, perhaps. Panthers or Jagdpanzers, one of the other. Churchill versus King Tiger is not going to go very well for the Churchill, though the King Tiger pushing alone unsupported is a bad idea. Should you use only one infantry unit to cap and then use the rest to support the KT, and then come in with a nice flank on the central position. The British are going to be able to retake pretty much undisputedly the left, which has been their saving grace for most of the game. They have been the undisputed masters of the left side. Too slow a play from the left wing, I guess, of the Germans. This blobbing really needs to go, especially in team games, where there's going to be a lot of artillery coming down. You do not want to do this. Sappers not being monitored, it seems. Von also crashing, or maybe rage quitting, I don't know. I doubt it's rage quitting because they were doing well. The Shreks looks like are going to be able to take out the Crocodile, not before he gets a nice burst of flame off. And the infantry is going to mass retreat instead of just walking out of it. Though it looks like some artillery is coming down. I think. Yep, artillery is coming down over here. Could be very dangerous as the blob over here. Your top priority should be to move out of the way. Though it looks like the artillery barrage has been ended. A Bofors actually went down in the middle. I agree with this decision. It's going to be able to just smash the infantry that comes in. Looks like we have some German artillery coming on the 17 pounder. I don't know what kind of artillery though. Heavy push for the left by the Ostruppen and Sergeant Scrub. We're going to be able to take out a Sherman Firefly with the Stoops. Stoops looks like they actually fare pretty well against Fireflies. Again, Fireflies, their main weakness is the fact that they are very squishy. So you'd want to be hitting them with a lot of cheaper anti-tank units to take them out. AI Cromwell along with artillery doing some nice work pushing back the enemy from the middle, though The Bofors is being repaired thanks to this delay. Jagdtiger being rebuilt and facing a swarm of Churchills. I'm thinking the Jagdtiger is in trouble just because of the constant crew shock and also because of the circle strafing that's going to come down from the Churchills. Again, the lack of infantry support of the super tanks is what's been really hurting the Germans. The same is also kind of true for the British, but the British have been able to bring in the infantry always in some way. And the Shrek Blob, though, looks like it's going to be able to come up. Should be focusing all the efforts on taking down one Churchill at a time. There's no point in doing like half damage to one Churchill, then half the damage to the other Churchill. You're just gonna have more guns shooting at you. Looks like a Stuka strike is coming in. Oh, Panther. Nicely getting a Panther, though not a command Panther, even though you do have the correct doctrine for it. A push for the left has been successful. Finally, he has realized that he needs to do that. Push for the center unsuccessful. Churchills are going to start dropping like flies to the Shrek Blob and the anti-tank from the Germans, though the infantry support is away, and the shells are going to be able to blind these tanks, and with no infantry support, they're not going to be able to shoot down this Churchill as quickly. So a bad situation. Though it looks like also the British infantry was forced back for some reason. And this Churchill is going to die, though a nice flank coming in from the AI Cromwell. Cromwell's actually I've found to be very useful also in late game. This Churchill might actually live. Oh no, dies from the Panther. And the AI Cromwell takes it out. On this other side, special weapons half-track along with Bofors decimating German infantry. Looks like the British are able to kind of retake this side. Maybe. I hope for them. AT gun not being monitored, being cleared by Obers. Railway artillery coming down, going to be very devastating to some of these units. The Churchill was abandoned, and the AI lovely not able to recrew it, and it's going to be die. It's going to be destroyed. Though it looks like the non-AI, actually this is the AI, making pretty good use of their units, getting the Bofer spam going. Blob coming up again. Armor too strong of British tanks. Well, it's a Churchill. Churchill is a very expensive unit, so you'd be expecting it to have high armor, especially considering its mediocre gun and very bad speed. Also, you have been able to counter it, so you shouldn't be QQing about it. Unless you want the Royal Navy a good access with your salty tears to its very heavy naval presence. If you don't want to fight the British at sea, you want your tears to allow them to fight a naval battle. Though, of course, you are able to take out the AI Cromwell. This Blob, it's not being punished by too much artillery because the British artillery is more effective against static positions, as these OKW trucks have learned the hard way. So the Blob you should not be moving it into the center because of the Bofors, though it looks like he wants to take out some of the Sexton. A better use for the Blob would be to take and fortify the right. And here comes the Bofors. Again, the Bofors is going to shred the German infantry, though he was able to spot for some railway artillery. Looks like the brace structure is going to come down. I do not know exactly how effective it's going to be. Very effective against the railway artillery. Not much damage coming in at all. The AI actually working to the favor of the crazy Russian plan. Going to harass the right without micromanager being required. Also harass the left. Though it looks like the Germans finally have some kind of defense set up on the left. Oh, this is going to be very vulnerable to artillery. Though it looks like the airburst shells not doing too much. Some kind of airstrike being called in. I do not know what kind of airstrike that was. German counter push on the right looks like it's going to succeed in taking over some of this territory. and it's getting to the campy stages of the game. Looks like the British strategy right now is shifted into hold a couple VPs and try to drain the Germans, which is fair to say a good idea when half of your team is AI. So it looks like the Churchill Swarm is going to come forward to try and take out this Tiger as it's being repaired, which is a good idea. You do not want the Germans to repair their tanks with their insanely fast repair speed. Churchill spam going to come in, though the other human for the Russians is very much under strength with his units. He decided to get a Centaur, which I do not agree with, though it is going to be able to clear the left, so that actually, I eat my words. Churchill, almost dead. It's probably going to die because of the pathfinding issues with the other Churchill. Artillery coming down of some kind. I don't know what that artillery was. Tiger wisely not pushing up about infantry support. So Centaur able to just take over the left by itself. Probably going to be followed by an infantry unit. Hopefully being followed by an infantry unit. Dronov looks like he needs to get some infantry up, despite the fact that he has a ton of fuel. His infantry was heavily bled out. Red Army, so he's the only one that with a floating left, with a big float left. That's probably because most of his infantry is sitting in the middle doing nothing. It should probably try to push up in the middle, actually. Try to attack a bit less fortified area. AI going to push on the right. What the Germans should do right now is try to keep equal forces on both ends, actually, because they have the ability to hold it a bit against the AIs, and just hope that the remaining two players are not coordinated enough to defeat any particular wing. And then when one wing is being defeated by a heavy assault from the human players, have the other wing sweep in the middle, get some additional artillery to take out the emplacements. Even though they have allowed the British to fortify very heavily, so it's going to be hard. At this point, the Germans are in a pretty bad situation. Lachenau needs to be a bit more aggressive sometimes with his units because he is loading a lot and he's near pop cap. That means that while having good unit preservation, which is good, he also needs to be a bit more aggressive and make a bit more important pushes. Anyadir, on the other hand, needs to use some of his float. He has lost 2 Yak Tigers, so his unit preservation, and also a King Tiger, I believe. So he really needs to work on surviving with his heavier vehicles. Churchill is going to push back the Königstiger, along with a Shrek Blob flanking. Very nice idea. Should actually stop and target this Churchill. And also try to retreat to some of his allies, though his allies aren't in a very heavy presence around here. He could have tried to finish off this Churchill, but right now the priority is to support the King Tiger. King Tiger looks like it had been pushed up without infantry support, which is a bad idea, as I've said like 17 times. Ostrupen should try to Panzerfaust this tank so that it cannot escape. Looks like he does get the memo. Also, this guy, he has been spamming Stutes instead of trying to get Panthers, which is a bad idea. If you really like tank destroyers, he could have gone an Elephant Doctrine. Shrek's gonna flank and try to take out this Churchill, which is going to be successful. Another Churchill going down, so it looks like the Churchill Blob is dead completely. The Churchill Blob was traded for the King Tiger and looks like a command truck. Mechanized Regiment headquarters. So, a pretty good trade for the Germans, in my opinion. Red Army does have the resources to rebuild too, and he does have the resources to continue with his infantry. Again, use your infantry to support your heavy armor.
They're down to 100 points.
Triple cap, though, is going to be very, very dangerous for the Germans, bringing them down to 95 VPs. At this point, you should not use your infantry to just fight in the flanks. Well, Firefly is going to be taken down pretty easily, so that's good. You should not be fighting in the flanks with your blob of infantry. That's your main force. You should use some artillery to force braces on these emplacements and force infantry up the center. And try to take out the emplacements with your Shrek mass while they are braced. Because while they are braced, they cannot fire. That is the main way to counter British emplacements.
Ready for orders. Hooper, prepare for orders.
Red Army really needs to control some of his infantry better. Because, like, I've noticed that a lot of his infantry is idle, not doing anything. And that's led him to accrue a bit of a float. Because his infantry is not in the fight, so it's not bleeding, so it's not doing anything productive. So his vampire floats without really doing anything useful. Shrek blob should not be blobbing too much, obviously, but whatever. Looks like he did not brace in time for the Stuka head, though it didn't do much. Looks like it didn't hit directly. Gopher's almost going to survive, though he does brace at the last second. If he hadn't braced, he would have been able to kill this infantry squad before it got off another volley. So this Gophers is down. Unfortunately, because you have been blobbing lock and load, your infantry is retreating. This would have been the perfect opportunity to just push in the middle, take out the 17-pounder, push up with your allies' armor, and then just sweep and take the VP and try to force a VP victory on the British. This is probably your last chance to do so, and now you're going to miss it. Bulger's being recruited, also going to be probably repaired. No, Grenade's going to kill it in time. Also, what I would have liked to see from the German player would have been a Brombear combined with a Panzerwerfer, which would have helped them greatly. The Stooks looks like they're going to be able to take out a human Churchill. Churchill should run away. Churchill is countered by Stooks, I think. Actually not, maybe. Because the Stook went in too close of a range, actually. So it looks like the heavy German infantry is going to be able to take the left. This is a pretty dangerous moment for the British. They're about to be triple capped. They want to get some infantry in on those caps as soon as possible, because they will last like a few minutes more, but not anything more with these triple caps. Looks like at least the center will stay in their control. So looks like the AI is getting up some AVREs.
Let's get to work.
We're down to 100 points now.
As you can see in triple cap, the VP count is falling very quickly for the British, but they are going to be able to secure at least 1 point, which gives them a pretty good portion of time. Another Stuka was built, which is a good idea, but it wasn't aimed very correctly. Actually, no, it was, so pretty good. Crocodile coming in from the AI. That's another advantage of British AIs, that Cromwell and Crocodiles do not exactly require some great skill to use, so even the AI can use them very effectively.
An infantry section of Tommies has been trained.
Grenade coming down on these Panzer Fusiliers that were harassing. Looks like some artillery being called on by the AI. What about tanks better than German tanks? Yeah, that is because, actually, they are more expensive. So obviously they are better than your tanks. So you'd want to be using your superior, I might add, AT support to take them out. Another Yak Tiger coming onto the field. At this point, the Yak Tiger might actually work because of the reduced number of British tanks. If he hangs back and plays it well, he might be able to destroy the British tank force enough. Though already he is not doing that. You should not use these infantry against the Yak Tiger. You should ping your ally to use the Yak Tiger, though the Yak Tiger is going for a flank, which is exactly not the Yak Tiger. What the Yak Tiger wants to do, instant shot coming in from the Churchill Crocodile. Though the Churchill Crocodile is going to be flanked by both the Yak Tiger and the infantry section, so it's probably going to die. Going to be blocked by the Yak Tiger. That's not something you see every day. and it's dead. So this is going to allow, again, this is not a good idea to do this with the Tiger. Show your ass to the enemy. It's going to allow the Churchill Swarm to come in. What he should be doing right now is throw some grenades on the blob to at least force them to move around. Looks like he's going to disengage though, accept the loss of this Churchill, and decide, well, I cannot take out the Tiger, and it's probably a good idea. Committing to this engagement would have probably resulted in the loss of a lot of armor. What the British are instead doing is focusing on the left. Command Panther and Churchill slugging it out, but the Command Panther is going to come out ahead. Though the Firefly is going to be able to push back the Command Panther. What the British really want to do right now is get a VP under control and get these low axis VPs done for. Though the Churchills are going to push back in the center. Tiger chase too far, that's not something you want to do. AI infantry going to try and cap the right side, so pretty good idea from the AI, even though the AI doesn't think, but hey, we all wish. These Churchills should start to throw some grenades when they are stopping to shoot, because obviously the grenades are going to deal either heavy casualties or nice artillery strike coming in. I think from the Sexton. Yep, from the Sexton. Sexton up to 30 kills, so very good usage of the Sexton.
No need for panic, but we've only got 50 points left.
50 points for the British, but the Germans are in an even worse position, and the British AI infantry is going to cap the right. What the Germans should have done is kept something to defend it, and it looks like it's a Fallschirmjäger, so that's good. Noticing that the right was being capped. British blob of sappers going to be pushed back by the Germans, but some artillery is coming down. Should move these units a bit away. AVRE going to push back the Ostruppen. And the Fallschirmjägers are going to secure the right side. So the Germans are still in the control of the VPs, but looks like the British are trying to mass for another attack, which is what I would do. Try to get the center this time, and using the AI as a distraction for the right. And since the Axis have wasted their Tigers, and it looks like they have wasted a bit of their infantry as well, actually this infantry is idle. That's a really bad idea in such a close situation. And looks like he's going for another KT. Panther would have been a better idea, because at this point you do not need a tank that takes a bunch of time to come off the field when you're in such a close situation. Railway coming down, but it's missing, so that's very unfortunate for the Ostruppen player. Oh, this infantry is going to move away from the VP without capturing it. Looks like he noticed, and he's going back in, but he's going to die instantly from the railway, but just after capping, so hero infantry section going to take the middle. Looking at the tactical map, we have a bit of a force on the left, but it's going to meet a wall of good infantry from the AI, so probably not going to make a dent. And in the center we have a lot of German infantry going to try that last desperate push. Pushing back to Churchill, so good. Though lobbing here, not a good idea. You expose yourself to grenades and all kinds of bad things. Like the Sexton, which is firing. It looks like it's firing like over here. Some artillery should be coming down from the British. It doesn't matter that it hits their own troops as long as it prevents the enemy from capturing this. Command Panther going to try to push back these AI Churchills, but there is a Firefly. King Tiger arriving just in time, though the artillery is going to deal heavy damage to it, along with the German blob that's trying to make this last-ditch effort for the middle. On the right, the Fallschirmjägers are holding the place, but they should be in the building for extra cover. German blob capturing the center, almost being wiped out by a second strike. King Tiger being heavily damaged by the 17-pounder, was trying to delay the enemy armor so that the infantry can take the VP. Looks like they are going to be able to take the VP, but they will not be able to necessarily hold it, I think. Flank coming in from the AI, very nicely decimating the German infantry. And Churchill trying to get the last hits in on the German infantry so that some kind of beleaguered units can get in the cap and seal the game for the British. Unfortunately, on the left we have some nice Obersoldaten capping, so they are able to at least try to get a triple cap going, which would be pretty much the end of the game for the British. Stuka strike, dealing heavy damage to the engineers, very nice job. The AI not capping the VP because it's the AI. The British should really get something in on this cap. The AI looks like it's on the job, along with no infantry though, only armor. An AT gun. An AT gun is being pushed up the cap and left. Along with these engineers, they are going to be able to stop at least the triple cap, so we have a double cap right now. Along with a massive amount of armor, going to try to stop this infantry long enough for British units to take the middle. It's starting to become a real clusterfuck. The British are at 4 points, really 2 points, and the VP is nuked on the left. The bleed is stopped, so the British now have a bigger chance than ever. And the German blob is trying to push up in the middle. Looks like he found out and he's trying to spread them out. Airburst shells narrowly missing, but the Churchill is trying to push them back from the VP as the AI is capturing the right side. The left side is firmly under British control, and looks like the Churchill is trying to just stall. He's going to sacrifice his own life to stall. Very good idea actually from Red Army. Just need to hold the VPs as long as possible at this point. Triple cap. This time it's for the British, and the Germans have nothing left to push because their King Tiger is dead. All their armor is dead. Pretty much, we have some Fallschirmjägers being spawned on the right, trying to take the right VP, but it's to no avail. The push for the center might have some success. Actually, they might be able to stall if the Fallschirmjägers can nooch the right side. They have nooched the right side. Heavy German infantry presence in the middle. Looks like they will not be able to take the middle in time because of the last left VP, draining them 1 VP at a time. GG, British win. What could have done differently? Well, the Germans obviously suffered from a severe lack of coordination, which is, well, you know, the downfall of many random teams, really. So that's not their fault. Well, it is their fault, but you cannot blame them for it. And also some extreme floating in the beginning of the game, which is when you want to be pushing the British. Their allocation of resources on the map, which is a very important part of team games, was okay. But I think that the British, especially in the late game when they had to work with 2 AIs, the British just concentrated their forces better on more important locations. A bit too much blobbing from the Germans, though you can obviously learn to deal with that. What else? Well, very good use of artillery from the British, which I think is one of the main factors of their win, really, along with their good use of heavy tanks supported by tank destroyers. You know, Fireflies aren't tank destroyers, but I'm just gonna call them tank destroyers because that's the role they fulfill. And yeah, pretty much it. We had some floating coming in from the Soviets. Crazy Russian clan must be playing Soviet. From the British, we had some pretty big floating coming in from them, but they worked around it a bit better. Instead of lobbying their infantry too much, they supported their tanks a bit better, I think, at least. Especially on the left side. On the left side, they played very much better than the Germans. The Ostrupen guy really needed to lay off on the Ostrupen after maybe 10 minutes or so and check up the tier 4, along with getting some nice grenadier blobs going. Sergeant Scrub, I haven't seen much of him. He did use his overs pretty well, so I cannot blame him for that. But he didn't get much use of it out of his command panthers and his armor in general. So he really should improve his armor control, especially his survivability for his armor. On Yadir, he pushed up way too much with his Yag Tigers. Yag Tiger are supposed to obviously hang back and, well, snipe. And that's a mistake big enough to lose a game, really, because of it's such an expensive unit. And he also floated a lot. Lock and load, you floated a lot. You could have gotten more Rakens at some point, instead of just infantry spam, which is vulnerable to crocodiles. Even though Rakens are kind of vulnerable to crocodiles too, it way less so. While the Stukas, you did pretty well with them, though you should have used them more on cooldown. Instead of getting King Tigers repeatedly and mindlessly, you should have probably gotten Panthers. They would have helped you counter Churchill's way better, in my opinion. What else? I don't think anything else. That's it. Very close game. GG.